Welcome back, football fans. Once again, you have reached Pay Dirt. I'm here with my man, Pay Saunders, and I'm your host, Brandon Herriott, a.k.a. B Dirt, going over all your NFL football pick'ems. Pay, on location in Chi-Town this week. How's things going out there, Pay?
Man, the weather's great, man. We're loving it in Chicago. The sun's not out. I would love to see some sunshine, but as long as the snow on the ground it's not enough, and it's just the right amount of dirty for people not to put it in take it in their house and put it in the blender, make it into ice cream. So it's not too bad. How's it going over there in main streets of Upper Pittsburgh?
I'm south now. South. I moved to the South Hills. I was North Hills. Same thing. Overcast, gray, drizzly. It's been pretty miserable. It's a little Seattle-esque these days here. So, but hey, I got out last weekend. Got to see some family, so that was good. And after a little bit of a rough start, rebounded for one heck of a good week. So ended up 6-2 off of the bets on the podcast for me last week. And 7-2 when I added the Packers when that line jumped to 10.5, which we talked about not expecting that line to jump. It was only 54% of the money was on the 49ers, but they wanted to even that boy out, so they pushed that up to 10.5, and I jumped on it. My best bet of the week then was that over in the Lions game. That was my heaviest bet. That was a pretty easy one. And then I'm wearing this sweatshirt. For those of you that can't see this, just listen to it on your podcast. Wearing a hoodie that says "Life's too short to bet the under." And that's kind of been my mantra the past couple of weeks, and I think that's going to stand true for this week as well. Mike Evans over 68.5 passing yards. He had 147. McCaffrey over 92.5 yards rushing. That last drive, 98. He goes to 98. And then Jameson Williams, 34.5 yards receiving, and he ends up with 35. The only one I didn't hit was OBJ, and I got the Texans wrong to the Ravens, and man, did the Ravens look good, Pay.
Trying to tell you.
Yeah, you keep telling me. I don't listen.
So, let's talk about my weekend. My football weekend. It was a little bit more seesaw, a little more back and forth.
It's a roller coaster.
Man, so I had a 13-leg parlay. Of course, it didn't hit because I wouldn't be here today if it did. Let's just run through it. Let's run through it. So my Saturday was crap. Parlay was failed like right out the gate. So with the first game, Ravens versus Houston, I had Schultz over 34.5. That's a win. That one hit. So I'm 1-0. I had Houston covered 9.5. Obviously, that didn't happen. They got the doors blown off of them in the second half, so I'm 1-1. I had the under 43.5. That was also an L. So I came out of the first game 1-2.
Well, you felt good at halftime too, didn't you?
I did.
10, right where you needed to be.
I did. So going to the second game was the Packers in Green Bay. So I had, let's see, I remember us talking about that one, but I don't think I took anything out of that game other than San Francisco, not Packers and Green Bay. What am I talking about?
Packers and 49ers.
Yeah, right. 49ers and the Packers. So out of that game,
we were both Ifsky on that game.
Yeah.
At 9.5 and 50.5 over under. We said we're gonna pick every game as if we pick them, but I definitely at the end of the program said a couple of them I'm not betting. The Bills and Chiefs was another one I wasn't betting. Yeah, that was a tough game. But when it went to 10.5, I jumped a unit on it.
Yeah.
Love that hook.
As you should have. So what I did from that game, CMC first score, another L. So I'm looking at 1-3 right now. San Francisco, 9.5-point faves. I took that. 1-4, another L. Over 58.5, another L. My Saturday, I finished 1-5, 1-6, 1-6. Come on, man. So all in all, I told you I had bet like 5 units, right? Bet 5 units on the whole weekend, and I gotta tell you, my Sunday was a lot better. I made my money back and some. I got back in the black. Now let's go through that story. I had a parlay. The first game, Detroit and Tampa Bay. I had over 70 yards for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hit. Detroit, 6.5. Hit. Over 49. Hit the parlay. The last game, the one we were both like, skittish about, right? Kansas City on the money line. Hit. I told you. Kansas City is in their heads. They are champions. They know how to win when it's time to win, right? And the over 62.5 for Isaiah Pacheco. Another hit. I was perfect on Sunday. Got back in the black. I'm happy about it. That 13-legger, it was pie in the sky. It's a lotto ticket. I didn't have much faith in it, but they all sounded good on audio, right?
Most definitely. And I even had the bonus right for the folks at home. Sean Strickland lost to DDP in a decision, and a very tight one at that. So I felt lucky. Jameson Williams, I win by a half yard. DDP decision was a little bit controversial in the UFC. But hey, man, 7-2 for the weekend, 7-2 for the weekend. I don't care how you cut it.
I was a little more like 5-5. If you put all the parlays and the individual picks together, no. If you put the individual picks and the parlays all together, I was over 500. And like I said, I ended up in the black, so I'm fine with that, right?
It's the most important thing.
Oh, it's the only thing.
All right, so here we are, championship weekend. Starting off with this AFC, bittersweet here, AFC championship game. It means there's one day of football, and there's only one more left after that. It's a little sad, but hey, let's go into some really good games. We got Mr. AFC championship game, Patrick Mahomes, going into the Ravens' den. And the Ravens are favored by 4 points at home, over under 44.5. What's your take on this one? Who you leaning towards right now?
You my homie, B. You my homie. You ain't gotta ask me that.
All right, tell me why you're taking the Ravens in this game.
The Ravens are winning the Super Bowl, dog. And I'm here to let everybody know early. So, the same thing I said last week about Kansas City and Buffalo. Kansas City's got that championship swagger. If you was going to get them, you needed to get them early, because once they get rolling, it's going to be tough to stop them. But guess the things that make you are the things that break you. Kansas City, they got that championship swagger. That means they played a lot of games. They're going to be tired, worn down, and it's already showing in their injury report. Isaiah Pacheco has missed every practice so far this week, as we're recording this on Thursday night.
Not good.
I believe their right guard, Tunney, if I'm saying his name right, he's also dealing with an injury. I think he's got a pectoral strain. I'm not sure if it's on his right or his left side, but that's important. This is the second most important injury on that team. You know why? One of the better players from the Ravens game last week, and one of the better players all season. In fact, I think he's a top 5 player at his position, but that's a story Daddy, I'll talk about that on the homies if they give me the grounds, if they give me the room to actually speak about actual teams still playing. You know, they don't like to talk about football anymore. They talk about off season. But story for another day. I forgot where I was at.
Right guard.
Right guard. So one of the better players for the Baltimore Ravens plays defensive tackle. He's going to have if your pectorals is strained, you can't really push. You can't do this. You definitely can't push nobody with some type of force. And you're going to be having hell to pay messing with the Baltimore Ravens front defensive line. You are compromised in that position. Now, I said that was his number 2 most important injury they head into this game with. Yay, the number 1. One of the guy that you expect to be their spy on Lamar Jackson. He may not play. I think he's in concussion protocol. If they have to put somebody new out there to watch Lamar, oh man, it can get bad. Somebody who's maybe not as experienced, it can get bad, man. It can get bad. Lamar is. You saw what Lamar did in the second half. They came out the tunnel tied, and Lamar put the team on his back. Put on his back with his arm and especially his legs. He let you know, like, all right, we gotta make a play. Let me put my cape on. Everybody, get behind me. I'll lead you there. And if it's got to be done, it's got to be done.
Yeah, and we're looking at this. The Ravens and the Chiefs have had the 2 best defenses in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ravens seem to be getting a little healthier. The Chiefs seem to be getting a little unhealthy. The Ravens seem to be peaking at the right time in their season. And what I really like about the matchups, man, we've talked about all year on multiple different podcasts. Best linebacker room in football is in Baltimore.
Yep.
And they go sideline to sideline so well. I really think that's the difference here with a Kelsey. I think Travis Kelsey has lost a little bit. He's a little dinged up. Had a pretty good game last week. Caught a couple touchdowns, whatever. I think they can minimalize him and force that ball to the receivers. Once you get past Rashee Rice, not a whole lot there to be desired. Now, I think Patrick Mahomes will still make some plays. I think he'll still make some plays. If this is a 24-21 game, the Chiefs still cover. The over hits. It's kind of in the area I see it, 27-21, 27-24, 28-24, somewhere in that little vicinity. All those numbers I said are over. Life's too short to bet the under. Give me the over in this game. I think the 2 best players on the field are these quarterbacks, and it could be a backdoor cover situation for the Chiefs. It could be whatever. I think they're going to put up plays. I think they're going to will themselves to put points on this board. And both teams have good field goal kickers as well, so I'm not going to dismiss that. So I'm going to take the over 44.5. Now, the other prop bet's been really good, knock on wood, for me so far in these playoffs. It's obvious to me, and someone may have said this earlier in the year too. I'll leave it up to you to tell it, but it's obvious to me that Lamar Jackson's got a favorite target, and it's no longer the tight end. Zay Flowers over 41.5 yards is easy money to me in this game.
Think so?
I think he's over 41.5. I wouldn't be surprised if he's over 41.5 in the first half.
I'm not going to disagree with you there. I think Lamar. I won't go as far as say as a favorite target. I think the favorite target is obviously anybody in the slot or running down the seam. I think that's obviously his favorite guy, whoever that may be. And I try to tell everybody, the Ravens have to, Ravens had unquestionably the best tight end room in the division. But what do I know?
I know Mark Andrews is coming back, but
he might be limited. He might only just play in certain packages. But yes, he should be back.
Good end zone target, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't expect too much out of him coming back from that broken ankle. Decoy at
I can see him being used out there as a decoy. If you put it out there, you got a game plan for him. That's just more time you got to spend doing something you may not even have to do. So
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. I like the gamesmanship going there. Now as far as Zay, 41.5. I mean, it's not outside of the realm of possibility. I'm not gonna try to just talk you out of that. So, but I'm not gonna put that in my slip. Just put it like that. I feel a little bit more confident since we're talking about props in this game. I feel a little bit more confident about Jerick McKinnon maybe getting the anytime score. Like I already said, Pacheco's missing time. I don't think he will not play because he didn't look too banged up last week, and I don't think he practiced the whole week last week either. But Jerick McKinnon, he's a favorite in that red zone.
Mm-hmm.
He's a favorite in that red zone for the Kansas City team. So, with every day they're telling me Pacheco's not practicing, the more I feel like I want to put that anytime touchdown right there into that mix. Did you know Mark Andrews is plus 210 for anytime score?
Very interesting. I knew his over was 35, 30. It was 30 something yards.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, I get why you're doing that. Again, that I'm not putting it on my bet slip. I'm more. I think Zay Flowers is an easy one for me. L'Jarius Sneed down with a calf strain last game. I mean, weather's going to be a little bit better, but you know how calf strains are. I talked about it with Joe Burrow all year. Like, those aren't easy to pop back from the following week. You tweak those, and I don't want to be chasing Zay Flowers around the field. So, I like that one, actually. I really like that one.
The injuries might come back to bite him, man. Playing football is, I don't know if you knew this, but playing football is kind of dangerous.
Yeah, bad for your health.
Yeah,
bad for your health.
Bad for your health.
Yeah, no doubt. But hey, we appreciate all you guys rocking with us. It's time to pay a couple bills before we talk about the NFC game. So if you're on Spotify or Apple, I don't know if Google's gone yet, but it's going pretty soon. So if you're listening on Google Podcasts, get it somewhere else. Go to Spotify.
Hey, that's my favorite platform to listen to podcasts. They don't leave until April. You got until April 1st.
Okay, you got until April? All right. Well, listen, I'm a Spotify guy myself. You want to go over there and check that out just to get your backup plan on. But if you listen to that, go ahead, subscribe, share us with a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend. And if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, hit that thumbs up. And we will be right back after we pay these bills. Welcome back, football fans. Once again, you've reached Pay Dirt. I'm your host, Brandon Herriott, a.k.a. B Dirt, with your host, Pay Saunders. We have went over the AFC. I think both of us are a little bit, the AFC didn't have a whole lot to it. I didn't find a whole lot of meat on the bone. We did find some bets we liked. Interesting takes from both of us. So do your homework, figure out what you like and what you're comfortable with, and roll with it. But this NFC game, kind of dig this one.
Now, before we go too far from the AFC, I do want to get this one in. You said you do like the over. That's another one I'm a little skittish about. I got this playing close to the line, close to that 44, 45 point line. Like you said, do your homework though.
I had mine somewhere between 45 and 52 is where I'm guessing it. But I'm taking the over. The quarterbacks, I think, figure a way to get.
Hey man, life's too short to bet the under.
Hey, listen, you bet the under last week. I bet the over. Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Sometimes I bet the under all year.
Sometimes all year.
I had no opportunity to wear or say anything like this all year, but now that we've gotten the Steelers out of the way, the Iowa Hawkeyes out of the way, we can actually talk about some overs now.
Hey, sometimes that team that's pretty good in defense scores some points too. How about that?
It does. It does happen. Lions are at the 49ers. The 49ers are 7-point home favorites. Over under 51.5. Debo 50-50 chance is what they're saying for Debo Samuels with the 49ers. But I don't expect this to be. 51.5 seems pretty fair for me. I think this is they're gonna definitely score some points. The Lions secondary has been known to give up a few. Brandon Ayuk 81.5. I'm staring at, but I haven't pulled a trigger on yet. Amon-Ra St. Brown at 85.5. Staring at, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet. So those are two that I'm on the fence on right now. So I want to get your thoughts on this game in general, and if you have any thoughts on those two that I'm on the fence on, by all means, share away.
Now, I told everybody early on when we started recording this for the first time, we don't do this for content, right? I'm not cow herding it. I'm not just throwing stuff out there that's for digestion, just to say the thing, right?
No, we share the receipts in our group chat a lot of times.
We do. Yes, we do.
We are placing these bets.
Right. Yes, we are. I like your money just as much as I like my own. I'm not going to tell you something, say take my advice, and then I just sail you up the river. No. Now, for some other shows that I do, they are content. Like the one I just recorded before we started doing this show, my NFC North homie show. I picked the Lions there. And why did I pick the Lions? Playing to the crowd. I want the Lions to win. Do I believe they're going to win? Do I believe them enough that do I put some money on it? I do not. Now, if Debo don't play, that is a huge development. B, one question. Two questions. Do you remember San Francisco going on a losing streak this season?
Played the Bengals right in the middle of it. Yes, sir, I do.
Yeah, all right. Do you remember what key player was missing from all three of those games?
Mr. Debo Samuel.
There you go. Debo Samuels is a unique player in this league. He is the rare wide receiver that can alter a betting line, because their offense is a lot worse without them. I saw a stat earlier. Their offense is 3 yards worse without him in it. 3 yards per play. Let me put that back. I got that.
3 yards per play. That's huge.
That is a lot. If Debo contributes that type of offensive share to that offense, and he's not there, I have extreme reservations about the timing of this offense, which is based on timing. CMC is an all-world. So is Kittle. Love him. Brandon Ayuk is all-world as well. He's got talent. But without Debo, I'm not too confident. Now, and that brings me back to the whole thing. San Francisco 7-point favorites. Now, this part I did say on NFC North homies. Check it out wherever you get your podcast. That 7-point line is disrespectful. Detroit is going to play this game a lot closer to that. They're going to scratch and claw, pun intended, to keep that game close. I got it around that 50. What was it? What's the line? 52?
51.5.
51.5. I got it going around there. In fact, I wouldn't be upset if it goes over. In fact, I can see it going over, but I got it like a 4-point game. Either way, with either team, it's going to stay in that 4-point margin.
28-24. Boom.
That sounds fair. That sounds really fair. 28-24. In fact, I would think something like 31-25, something like that. Sounds incredibly realistic. And could that be Detroit on the end, winning in? I mean, wouldn't shock me.
You know why it could, in my mind? Fourth down. Fourth down. Dan Campbell is not afraid of it. So if they can convert a couple of those fourth, because they're going to do some fourth down tries. 4th and 3, 4th and 5, they're not scared of those. If he converts a couple of those, could change the momentum of the game.
That's correct. Dan Gamble.
Gamble. Man Gamble.
Right. I love it. I love it out of him. It makes the game so much fun. It puts the intensity on every play. So here's what I'm looking at from this game. I like the props more than I like the lines. That's very rare. Usually I love to jump into the lines, see what's happening, because that's where the good money's at. So Detroit +7 sounds very it's like give me money right now, right? Other than that, I'm not touching anything with the San Francisco offense because everything is predicated on Debo, But I do like St. Brown. St. Brown is easy money. I've put St. Brown in so many props this year. I've lost count. He is easy money. They've got him right now as his
85.5.
85.5. You got to it before I could. So 85.5.
I got it written down with a question mark by it.
You're not certain on that? Well, you can always do the alternate. Let's talk about those alternate lines. So if you're a little unsure about what they're giving you, the 85, B. Why not think an alternate, right?
Yeah. Especially if you're going to put it in a parlay.
Exactly. Yeah. So on DraftKings, Amon-Ra St. Brown's alternate receiving yards for, let's say, 70, just like I had it last week, is -210. The odds on that pretty much tells you, okay, they think that's possible. All right, if you want to put it in a parlay, if you're a little skittish, I would take the 70. Take the 70. I think 70 is easy money, right? Am I saying something crazy there, B. Dirk?
No, not at all. Not at all. He's turned out to be, not only is he a favorite target of Jared Goff, which, by the way, we keep ignoring the fact Jared Goff right now is, by all rankings, is a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Big surprise to everybody, but that's the way he's played this year. And that's his favorite target and his security blanket. And he runs hard after the catch, which is one of the reasons why I don't like Debo missing. Debo's dealing with the same injury that he dealt with earlier in the year with the same shoulder. They're saying it's not cracked like it was then, but it's, dinged up, quote unquote, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The way he runs, man, that's going to be tough. It's going to be hard for him to play like that.
Yeah. I got a little stat for you, a little statuski. Including the playoffs, that's 19 games? Amon-Ra St. Brown has had 70 yards or better in 16 of them.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Like I said, the odds tell you it's free money. I would take that. If I'm going to build a parlay, that's one I'm very sure that it's going to pop for me.
I like that one. I definitely like that one.
How do you feel about CMC? I mean, he's favorite to win offensive player of the year?
Yeah. I think the Lions had a better running defense than they did a passing defense, but right. CMC is special. His over-under is 86.5. I probably have him as a half unit bet just because I think he's going to step up, especially with Debo being dinged up. But he's not my favorite one on he's not my favorite one on the prop bets for the 49ers. I actually do have one prop bet on the 49ers. I know you're kind of off of them. I got one I'm on. Despite how the Lions game ended last week with an interception by a linebacker, their linebackers have been pretty poor in coverage this year. Deebo Samuel, at best case scenario, is going to play hurt. George Kittle over 62.5 yards. Come on down. I got him getting over 80 yards.
80. He might do. Kittle was good for doing that, getting majority of that in one play. He'll go up, man, they'll line him up inside. They'll do a drag, catch somebody lacking, catch the zone in a soft spot and take it up the sideline about 53 yards.
Yeah.
Hey, that's almost like a safe bet too. 80 yards. I'm going to put that in my slip, B.
62.5 is the over-under on him right now.
Yeah, I kind of like that. What's something else? Let's see. What else? Something juicy. I already said I like the Lions +7. I think that line is itching at Peyton. Itching. We both like the total 51.5. We think that can go over. I'm a little skittish on that one. I might just go ahead and take it. Say F it,
That might be if the first game goes really well, maybe we put a little ducket on that.
You know what? I forgot what channel this was. I forgot what show we were doing. I said F it. If this was the Steel Curtain Network, I was talking like that. No, don't worry about it. Let's see. Sam Laporta. He's been dinged up. They signed former Philadelphia Eagle tight end. I'm blanking on his name right now. To the practice squad, Zach Ertz. They signed Zach Ertz to the practice squad. Some thinking he might get activated for this game just because, for whatever reasons, Sam Laporta is a little too dinged up to go. So they need another big body out there that can catch passes in the red zone. I got a two-parter. Zach Ertz is plus 4,000. First TD score, and he's plus 1,200 anytime score. How does that? Well, plus 550. I'm sorry, anytime score. How do we feel? I mean, just risking it right there on Zach Ertz.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. He'll have a handful of plays.
Yeah. If anybody is activated and brought into the game this quick, this soon to gameplay, this late in the game install, where their name is. For those who are not, certain about football, the first package of plays you get into, red zone. If there's going to put any package he's going to be put in, red zone. You ain't got to know too much. You just, run this way. Look at the quarterback. I kind of like that 550 anytime score. I might do that straight up. I'm not gonna put that in the lay. I'm gonna do that straight up. See what happens.
Take a flyer.
Yeah.
High risk, high reward.
Definitely.
I do have one more.
All right.
So, San Francisco's got good speed at linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
They got good speed at edge rushers.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the tandem of running backs for the Detroit Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs has got that explosive play, get outside, does go through the box, but tends to make that cut to the outside. Where David Montgomery, as you know, more of a hammer, runs between the tackles, can slip, can be a little slippery, but would rather use his power game. So I see Jahmyr Gibbs, if he's going to make a splash in this game, I think it's going to be more from the passing aspect. Unless he catches one of those really good edge rushers from San Francisco just crashing down, and he can get outside of them. But I think that's less likely. What I've seen recently, both games in the playoffs, the 49ers have given up over 100 yards rushing. And where I've seen success is I don't think we're getting the same Javon Hargrave that we saw in Pittsburgh or Philadelphia last year. I think he's lost a little bit as far as getting off the block as much as he did. Now, he's still a good player, but I don't think he is what he was. And because of that, I think David Montgomery over 43.5 yards rushing, I think that's going to be the tone center. That's going to be, San Francisco's a very physical team, wants to punch you in the mouth and wants to bully you. And I think Detroit is kind of cut out of a similar cloth, and I think that's their way of doing it, is that the hammer in this game for them will be David Montgomery. I think he gets around 60, 65 yards. Wouldn't be surprised if he got 75. You know what I mean? So because of that, I'm taking that over on David Montgomery, 43.5.
I forget what show I was on. You do so many shows, right? I forget what show I was talking about. And I was trying to point out that as great as San Francisco is, they are vulnerable in one key area. And you just highlighted it. They have been susceptible to getting gashed in between the tackles. They've got a great D line. They've got a great front seven. Fred Warner is probably the best linebacker in the game outside of Roquan Smith. However, all season, teams have found success in just not stretching, not doing stretch plays, not running outside, just going right at them. A little power action through the two hole, a little couple of gives through the one back, through the one gap. There's stuff like that. They found success, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I like Detroit's running chances to run the ball on them. You said David Montgomery over 43.5. I love it. Jahmyr Gibbs over 47.5. I don't love that as much. In fact, I would probably do a total yard lay on Jahmyr.
I like that
because I would probably put it at somewhere. Let's see. They have his rush plus receiving yards at 75.5 minus 110. I'm going to alt that.
Yep.
I'm going to alt it. I'm going to put it at. They got 50, 75, 100, and 125. I mean, 50 is minus 425. It's not a lot of money out of there. Again, this is strictly for a lay. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is better than just 50 total yards. You know what? F it. I'm gonna not do alternative. I'm gonna stick to the 75.5. I'm gonna stay there, which is, and here's something a little interesting. The straight up rush plus receiving yard for Jahmyr Gibbs is over 75.5 for minus 110. The alternate rush receiving yards for Jahmyr Gibbs, 75 plus, still is the same 110. So if you're looking for that hook the hook is in one place, but it pays the same.
That's good to know. I really like that David Montgomery play. When you look at the 49ers and similar running styles that they've faced as far as David Montgomery's running style, I look at Zach Charbonnet from Seattle, averaged 5 yards a carry. James Conner averaged 6 yards a carry against them for over 80. I think that's kind of the comps as far as running styles. So I think they're going to give him more than 10 carries. So if he averages a Zach Charbonnet, who I think he's a little bit better than, and gets more than 10 carries, we're cashing. So,
Yep.
So you've talked me into Amon-Ra St.
like
Brown. I'm still on George Kittle. I'm on David Montgomery, and I've got a probably a half unit on Christian McCaffrey's got to prove me wrong. He's been my Amon-Ra for you. He just been anytime touchdown and over the yards, you can go to the bank.
Yeah. Not mad at it. I'm putting these picks in right now, B.
All right. Any other picks? Anything you want to nuggets of wisdom or anything you want to tell the people before we start putting a bow on this?
Again, DraftKings doesn't give you those college basketball lines days out in advance. I'm going to tell you again, North Carolina's going to win, but it's a Saturday game. If you keep your bet slips open long enough, you got the free one from me. North Carolina's going to take that.
So you're back on it.
Other than that,
I got nothing. I got nothing for UFC this week. Pretty good bets from them. Pretty good things from them last week, but this week I got nothing. So those are my bets. I'm over against Pay's better judgment in the Chiefs and Ravens. I'm over Zay Flowers receiving yards. I'm over Christian McCaffrey 86.5 rushing. I'm over David Montgomery 43.5. Probably going to be my big bet of the week. I'm over George Kittle 62.5. And I'm over Amon-Ra St. Brown 85.5. I'm living by the mantra on my hoodie. Life's too short to bet the under. Let's get after it. And hey, like we've said, man, we're both picking the Ravens. We're both picking the Ravens, so I think it's.
Hey, what did my favorite TV show, The Wire, set in Baltimore?
Oof.
One of the most indelible TV characters of the 21st century, Omar Little. One of his famous lines, Omar don't scare, and that's the Ravens. Never
100%. 100%.
You heard it.
And I said it 2 years ago after the Bengals lost to the Rams. I said that the AFC was going to win the next 3 Super Bowls. And good friends of ours, who we do some shows with, laughed and blah, blah, blah. The Eagles are the best team. Dallas Cowboys are good. 49ers, whatever. It was real simple to me. And I'm not going to go through the list of top 8 versus top 8 quarterbacks, but I want you to take a look at this picture. I think the quarterback's, bar none, the most important person on the field. You putting your money on the 2 guys on the left or the 2 guys on the right? That's Brock Purdy and Jared Goff on the left. Or are you going to trust Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson on your right?
Yep.
Who's going to take the trophy home? I love the story of Jared Goff. I love everything about it. I know there's some people that pointed at Lamar Jackson and said that, he hasn't had that kind of postseason success. He's ran into a buzzsaw before, and he's been banged up or injured. This is his first time I think he's been real healthy in the past 3 years for the playoffs. So I'm taking that AFC, man. I think the AFC brings it home. And I really think the Ravens are going to win that game. So that's where my money's at too, man. So, without further ado, you've got our picks for the weekend. Study them, see what you like. Pay attention to that weather on those over. Pay attention to that weather on those over-unders. We got 2 outdoor games and 2 places it likes to rain. Could get slick, and that might help the running, the running overs as well. But other than that, we got 1 more week of football left. Well, we're not sure about the schedule coming up for next week. We may get on here and talk about some how the last week went and some of our, kind of strategies when we're betting games and things of that nature. Something short and sweet for you, and then we'll get into that Super Bowl action the following week. So
yes,
for Pay Saunders, and Brandon Herriott, aka B Dirt, we thank you for checking us out, rocking with us, giving us those likes, subscriptions, and everything else. Check us next week as we hit Pay Dirt.